All right, guys. He's a legend in the game. One of the best coaches to ever do it, behind fighters such as Luke Rockhold, Daniel Cormier, Cain Velasquez, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and many, many more. And, of course, the champ right now, Islam Makhachev. He joins me from Dubai, is it, Javier, to react to a crazy UFC 313. Javier Mendez. Crazy times in the sport of MMA, right?
Yeah. Champions come, champions go.
Unbelievable. Before we get to that main event, I want to get your thoughts on us having a new light heavyweight champion. Justin Gaethje goes out there. He's supposed to fight Dan Hooker. And then we get Fiziev, who ends up jumping into the fold, comes in 12 days' notice. And the guys end up having a bit of a continuation of the first fight in the sense where Fiziev had a lot of success, but Justin Gaethje was able to get momentum in the fight and eventually get the victory. A lot of people had it close. Some people had Fiziev winning it. But regardless, it was a classic war. First off, I just want to get your thoughts, man. Fiziev stepping up 12 days' notice and being able to put on a similar performance against Justin Gaethje to that first fight. It's unbelievable, right?
Yeah, any of these guys that are stepping up on short notice and deliver like Fiziev did is you got to hands off to him, man, and almost pulling it off. That's huge. So the only other person that I know of that's done that at this caliber was Alex Pereira. He's the only one that I've known that jumps in on a short notice and does fantastic, So, hats off to him, for that violent effort he came in. And I think if it wasn't for that little sneaky uppercut that caught him, who knows what the fight could have said, but regardless, he got caught.
Let me ask you this, man. Now, Justin Gaethje is on this win. We got to see that he's durable, and as he's able to take the shots, he still looks like the Justin Gaethje of old, because there were some questions after that stoppage against Max Holloway, right? You always want to see how a guy comes back. It was a serious knockout that he suffered. Dana White was talking in the post-fight press conference, and he said, it's not that crazy to think that Justin Gaethje might be the next one to get the title shot against Islam Makhachev now that he's ranked, obviously, third. What would your reaction be if Justin Gaethje was the next guy to take you guys on and fight Islam Makhachev?
Fantastic. Then it's Justin Gaethje. So then we'll focus on Justin Gaethje. That would be ideally for us the perfect matchup based on the fact of where his standing is and what he's done. So, and he's a big known guy. So and Islam hasn't fought him, so he's perfect.
I got to ask, a lot of people sort of go back to the Khabib fight, but Islam's a different fighter, right? He's got a lot of weapons similar to Khabib, but also they're both different. They had sort of different attributes as well. How would you see a fight between Islam and Justin playing out? Like, would it be similar to the Khabib fight, in your opinion? Because Islam is a great striker as well. So I feel like the fight would probably play out differently.
It definitely, in my opinion, would play out differently because they're not the same fighter. They're not the same fighter. Islam is more well-rounded than Habib ever was, So Islam is at the point where he's pound for pound number one because he's well-rounded in all the areas. Habib was not as well-rounded as Islam is in the striking. Habib, his attributes was the ground and the submission and how he can smother you and just make you feel like you're trapped and you can never get out. Islam doesn't have that type of game. He's got a different type of game. His game is incredible. It's submission level, base more than anything. And as you've seen it with all his submissions, it's different. It's different. They're not the same fight at all. It's an entirely different fight. Entirely different fight. In Islam, he can do it all. He can stand with him. He can take him down. He can do anything. And before anybody starts thinking about, well, he's the Division I wrestler, this and that. But hey. He was a Division One wrestler that was wrestling with Jordan Burroughs, and that didn't help him with Habib. So trust me, when you're talking MMA, there's a difference between just wrestling and MMA wrestling. Habib was the master, second to none in MMA wrestling. In Islam, I'm going to say is a close second. But they're different. They're different, but he's a close second when it comes to MMA wrestling.
Let me ask you this. Is it kind of exciting as well because Islam's at this point where his striking has really grown and advanced? Like, I feel like if we saw Justin Gaethje versus Islam a few years back, for example, maybe a different fight. But here, Islam's able to show off some of his weapons against someone like a Justin Gaethje on his feet. Is that kind of an exciting prospect for you?
Yeah, it's definitely an exciting prospect because, like I've said it time and time again, with Islam, we can do everything. We can stand, we can change him. Habib and I can do whatever, and the other coaches that are involved, Saif Safullah and Magomed, and the other Muhammad, the boxing coach. We can do so many different things with Islam that, and he's going to listen to our advice, especially Habib's advice. He's going to listen to Habib over any one of us for sure. And of course, I'm right up there too. But Habib for sure, Islam's going to listen to, because Habib's grown with him. They've trained together forever, and nobody knows Islam better than Habib. Nobody. The only person that knew Islam better was Habib's father, and Habib's father, you know, he's with God. So there you go.
An absolute legend and a pioneer in the sport as well. Let me ask you, obviously, Ilia Topuria was the name that was floated around with Islam. I know you don't know anything, UFC is still figuring all of that out, but for you personally, who would you prefer to see Islam fight next? Justin Gaethje, because I know you guys love and respect him as a fighter, or the bigger fight, I guess, in Ilia Topuria, because that's the big,
to me,
fight.
it's not important to me. It's focused on whatever the UFC decides. I'm not going to even talk about something that's not even there.
Mm.
What is there is what Dana talked about. So for me, I'd rather focus on whatever Dana said.
He's saying it's a good chance. Before we move off this as well, just quickly, you guys really respect and have a lot of respect for Justin as a fighter, right? Like stemming from the Habib fight, there was a lot of respect after the fight between Habib and Justin and your teams. For you, what does sort of Justin Gaethje stand for as a fighter? Because I mean, he's someone that's been able to really have a massive 2-3 runs in the sport and sort of reinvent himself a few times to still be at the top of the game.
Well, this guy is a champion through and through, and I really honestly believe in my heart, if he didn't feel he could be in the contention to run for the title again, I don't think he would be fighting. I think this guy is fighting for the thrill to be the best, and if he didn't feel that he could be the best, he wouldn't be doing it right now. That's my feeling on him. I think on the money department, personally, I would think he's probably set for life. And he's probably a smart guy. He doesn't look to me like he's a flashy guy whatsoever, down to earth. So I'm assuming he's done wise investments. So I would think this is something that he feels he could still do and he could still win. So for him, it's all about that title contention, that title shot again. And I think this puts him in that situation, and that's what I think. And let's see what the UFC decides. But I think that Dana saying that, I think I'm with Dana on that. I think that it's something that definitely I myself am excited about the probability of that. Or Armin. I like Armin.
Armin. Man, yeah, he couldn't fight. I know that you feel for him because he wasn't able to get the fight done. Doesn't look like Armin's going to happen though, Javier. Unfortunately,
unfortunately not. But
I think one more fight and he'll be in there. Let me ask you this as well, just real quick. A lot of people are also throwing up, well, what if Ilia Topuria fights Justin Gaethje and then the winner of that fights Islam, right? Just because I guess people want to see maybe Ilia have a test in the division. I want to know from your perspective, you're one of the best coaches in the world. You've got a mind for striking in all sorts of areas of the sport. If without breaking it down, without doing all the homework you would need to do, just based on feeling right now, who do you feel might win in a matchup between Justin Gaethje or Ilia Topuria? Because I'll be honest with you, I myself personally keep going back and forth on that matchup. Not sure who could win it. Not sure who would win.
I don't know. I really don't know.
It's a hard one, right?
It's a hard one. If the UFC decides that's what they want to do, then let them do that. I mean, for me, I'm only going on with Dana's words. When I hear Dana say something, then that's kind of like what's going on. So Dana saying what he said, then obviously it's more likely what's being worked on. I don't know because I'm not behind the scenes. All I know is, I know as little as you do, and I only, like I say, until it's announced in the UFC, there's no match. There's no match. So we're all talking what ifs, But Dana saying what he's saying is pretty close to facts.
Yeah, I've been in there with Dana a few times. He said a few things
that
have never happened. They've even announced fights in the past. There was one classic example with Robert Whittaker and Paulo Costa here in Australia that got announced, and it wasn't even signed, and it never even happened. And I remember I brought it up with Rob, and he's like, "It's happening, right?"
Yeah, that's why I don't really like saying anything about
changes.
Let the UFC
changes
announce
like that.
they will
Yeah.
go on whatever they announce. Whatever they
I
announce,
remember
that's what it's
Fiziev
going.
wasn't, when I checked in with this team and it looked in the back end of things, he wasn't even fighting Justin Gaethje an hour before it happened. So you don't know what's going to happen until they lock it in. Let me ask you this, Javier, before I let you go, because it's late over there. Crazy, right? Alex Pereira, no longer UFC champion. Everybody knew Ankalaev was going to be his toughest challenge. What was your reaction when you heard that no longer champion and Ankalaev is and new?
Well, I wasn't surprised based on the tactics that he used, the aggressiveness, the pummeling, the coming in looking to wrestle, and you can tell with Alex Pereira, Ankalaev was so aggressive that he came in and he shot in with that cross, right? And you look at Alex, he shifted his feet, which was the wrong thing to do. Instead of shifting his feet, should have moved back, make the counter miss. Instead he tried to counter it by switching, and then as he switched, he got caught right in the middle. So that just shows the uncomfortableness that Alex was going through, because Ankalaev has never proven to be that aggressive, and he used his wrestling, which was key, was very, very important. And if you notice, like somebody alluded to me, and I noticed it also, is that you notice Alex's hands were usually lower than they normally are, because he was preparing for a lot of wrestling. Because if you're thinking properly, you would think that, okay, if Ankalaev's fighting properly, he's going to want to throw the wrestling in there. He's want to come and wrestle and be aggressive, and that's exactly what he did. So Alex could never kick it into second gear. The first round, he did great with the calf kicking and this and that, but then after that, he really didn't have any answer. He really couldn't kick it into gear after that. It's not that I don't believe he didn't try. It's just that Ankalaev's game plan was just on point, and he was the better fighter that night. And let's see what happens and whether they want to do a rematch or not. I mean, it's up to the UFC, but I'm thinking, based on the comments I read from Dana and them, that he wouldn't mind seeing a rematch. So that means that obviously the fans will want to see the rematch, and if that's the case, then they'll offer it, and let's see what happens. But yeah, I wasn't surprised by the outcome. If Ankalaev did that, used his wrestling, I was not surprised at all. If he would have stood, just stand up with him, and if he would have won, on that, not being aggressive, staying on the outside, and if he would beat Alex that way, then I would have been, wow, that's impressive.
All right, guys, it's time for a new year and a new you, thanks to our friends at MANSCAPED. Have you sorted all the best products to get you looking good downstairs and all over your body in 2025? Performance Package 5.0 Ultra by MANSCAPED is your secret weapon for stepping into 2025 sharp, clean, and confident. Don't be the guy that rolls into January looking like you just emerged from hibernation. Let the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, the Weed Whacker 2.0 handle your overgrowth so you can focus on leveling up. Start 2025 with precision, because the only thing that should be growing this year is your success and not your scruff. Join the 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Use the code word submission now. Keep this show going. Get 20% off and free shipping today. Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the all-in-one grooming kit. Of course, I mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is the best tool you could have. It also comes with the Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose hair trimmer. Full aftercare, which helps you treat yourself right with the crop soother, and the crop preserver keeps you fresh and comfortable and confident, so you're always ready to move forward. And you get some free gift. Kick off the year with a bonus that elevates your routine. The Boxers 2.0, which I love to wear. They're one of the most comfortable boxers you can wear. And the Shed 2.0 toiletry bag, which I take with me everywhere I go. Manscaped has a 30-day money-back guarantee as well, so you can try it risk-free right now. Use the code word submission. Go right now, 20% off and free shipping. And I just want to talk to you guys about SAILY as well. SAILY is an unbelievable app that's going to change the game forever when it comes to travel, and you want to be covered with your phone. Forget lining up at airports and having to get a new SIM, taking your SIM out, keeping it in a little baggie, making sure you don't lose it. Forget all of that. SAILY has you sorted. All you got to do is download the app, choose the amount that you want to spend, what country you want to go to, and boom, like that, you are sorted. I just went to New Zealand. I was absolutely covered. I didn't want to spend the $10 or $20 or $30 a day that I was going to have to spend because of my provider. I put in an amount, it had me covered the entire time, and I even still have data left over because it was so smooth and easy. One of the things I love about SAILY as well that you may not realize is it actually comes with an ad blocker. So if you're watching videos or doing stuff on the internet, why waste your data on ads? The ad blocker has you sorted, and it comes with web protection as well. You know, malware on your device is the last thing you need on your travels. And SAILY gets you sorted and protected too. So why not jump on right now, use the code word submission, get 15% off. All you got to do is download the app, choose your destination, where you want to go, the amount of money you want to spend, activate it on your phone without having to take out your SIM card, without having to line up at airports, without having to re-sign different documents. SAILY has you sorted, whether you need a little bit of data or a lot of data, whatever your plan is, SAILY has you covered wherever you go in the world. Go on right now, check out the app. It's the most seamless and easiest process when it comes to travel eSIMs that you can experience. Use the code word submission, 15% off. Jump on right now. What are you waiting for? Grab your SAILY today. If you're traveling tomorrow, next month, get it sorted today. Use the code word submission while it's still active. It's 15% off. SAILY.com/submission gets you sorted. Try it today, whether it's a lot of data, small amount of data. SAILY has you sorted. Easy, seamless, highly recommended. Now back to the program. Yeah, he had moments. He went in on Alex. He went right through the middle of his guard, went into the pocket, and he was able to land like 5 straights back to back because Alex doesn't really move his head, right? And it's a benefit because he kind of stalks you. He's kind of like a predator, and he's got, you know, that Muay Thai kickboxing style where you're like, oh my God. But Ankalaev was able to sort of get around that, get through that, and start getting success. And he had a really good performance. I know there's a lot of people out there that are like complaining because they're like, well, he held him up against the fence here and this and that. But I feel like people are really taking it away from Ankalaev. Man, he did it through Ramadan. Like he kind of was forced into this fight at a bad time. It was definitely like not great circumstances for him. From your perspective, if this is the rematch, who do you reckon wins the rematch, knowing what you know now?
You know, again, if they have the rematch, I'm going to favor the guy that can dictate their game plan. And obviously, you know, Alex is not going to be able to overnight be able to become that dominant wrestler. You know, he's got to be the striker. You know, and him dropping his guard the way he did, and he's got to tighten up some of the techniques he did on the technical level because he left himself open, and Ankalaev, you know, exposed those transitions, and that's bad. It's just like, you know, with Adesanya did the same thing. You know, he crisscrossed and boom, he got nailed. You know, and you can't do that. You know, so it's kind of understand what's coming at you, and rather than doing a switch kick and try to counter, you should have blocked the counter first. Then not the counter, the strike, then go do the switch, then do that. But you get caught in no man's land. I tell my guys all the time, never, ever get caught with your feet like that. It's never a good thing. When someone's striking at you, never do that. Never. I always tell them all the time, never. And I'm not saying it's never going to happen. I just say, don't do it.
It was also interesting to see as well because he really couldn't fight off his back foot. Like we don't really see Alex Pereira on his back foot very often, but when he was on his back foot, I was almost expecting an Israel Adesanya kind of counter strike game where he was going to sort of lure him into the trap and then counter shot him as Ankalaev was coming in. And we saw that actually, no, like Pereira, that's not an aspect of his game that really utilizes that much. It's going to be fascinating. Sorry, my internet cut out. Can you see me, Javier?
Yeah, I can see you perfect. Yeah, no,
cool.
No. The thing that I said, that changed everything that what you're talking about is with Izzy, he didn't have to worry about wrestling. With Ankalaev, he had to worry about wrestling. So you got to understand. So while he's waiting and Ankalaev is being as aggressive as he is, he doesn't he's not worried just about striking. He's worried about being taken down. So there's a lot of elements to Alex that he had to deal with in this fight. It wasn't just another good striker. You know, it was another good MMA all around fighter that can do everything. So that was the problem here. Like I made my comments before. They asked me, and I said, well, the overall better overall MMA fighter is Ankalaev. If he uses that to his advantage, it's going to be just that, his advantage.
You know what, though? The funny thing from Pereira is his wrestling defense was on point. Like, you're right. He could, like, his wrestling looked good, but then, yeah, the striking, he just couldn't utilize the weapon. So you're on point there.
Yeah, he couldn't utilize it, no.
But you know what? Congratulations to Alex to be able, you know, have such a big run towards the end of his career. But yeah, I don't know about this heavyweight run. Do you think there's going to be a heavyweight run here, or do you think he really needs to win this rematch for that to happen?
I think that the fans are going to need him to regain this light heavyweight title if he's going to have any chance to challenge, Aspinall or John Jones, whichever
Mm.
one's going to be there. I don't know, I mean, that's for
Mm.
the UFC to decide, but my gut feeling is, what do you think? What do you think the fans are going to want to see? You think the fans are going to want to see, him going up to heavyweight? It's been done before. It's been done before with
I think
Chael
if he would have
Sonnen.
gone out there and exactly, yeah. Well, listen, if like, I mean, what about you, Daniel Cormier? You guys absolutely destroyed it. One of the best, guys to go up there, Cain Velasquez. But I was going to say that I think the UFC was waiting to see how this fight was going to play out, and I think a phone call was made to John Jones's lawyer, looking to meet his demands after this fight. I think they were waiting to see if Pereira was going to knock out, Ankalaev. Maybe they'll pay Pereira a little bit less money, make this Aspinall fight. He was kind of like the contingency plan if John Jones wanted too much money. I think now they're going to go to the table and they're going to offer John Jones potentially a little bit more money to try and secure this fight, because I don't think you can make an Aspinall Pereira fight right now, man, because, Aspinall is an aggressive grappler. He's one of those guys that when he gets you down, he's trying to finish you the whole time. I think it's a tougher one to sell off a loss like this.
The only fight at heavyweight that makes sense now is Aspinall and John Jones. So good luck getting John to the table on that one.
Yeah, unless they can somehow mend bridges or fences and get Francis Ngannou back in the chat, but I don't know about that.
He's been around the game forever, and if he wants the moon for money, then you want that fight, pay him the moon. I mean, he's earned his right to ask what he wants. So, let's see what happens. Let's see the interest. I don't know. I just know that what fights I feel the fans will want to watch, and to me it's Aspinall versus Jones. But can they put that one together? I know with the Aspinall situation, yes, because for me, he's not the champ. He's the number one contender, only because, Jones didn't lose the title. He didn't lose it at all. So he was injured. So to me, you create an interim title. There's so many champions that won interim titles, but to me, I didn't see the point of interim title other than interest. I don't value an interim title like I do the real champion.
Yeah, you can't do Tom like that. Poor Tom. I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah,
He's just sitting around trying to.
It's nothing on him, but it's like
trying to be the champion.
The champ is the champ. The champ is Jones. If you want to be the real champ, you have to be Jones. Otherwise, why you after Jones? You shouldn't say, forget him. I don't care. Give me the other number one contender, then I'll fight him. But why you after Jones? Because he knows. He knows. We all know. We can't kid ourselves. He's the true champ. He's the champ. So if he doesn't want to fight Aspinall, then okay, then maybe he don't fight at all. Maybe Aspinall fights, then he becomes the champ. No problem. But I'm just stating the way it is. It needs to be that way. There's no other way it can be. There's no other way it can be that make it legit. And I'm not saying this is a legit sport. It's entertainment first, but from a projective level of what people want to see, I believe that's what people want to see.
Oh yeah, man, it's a great fight. It's one of those fights that needs to be made. But I was going to say, like, from John Jones's perspective, I think people would have. It's kind of like, when GSP won and he didn't really want to fight on, he kind of like beat Bisping. He's like, all right, guys, that's it. I'm done. And the division moved on. I think there's sometimes people get a little bit annoyed at John Jones because it's like, dude, are you fighting him? Are you not fighting him? Are you vacating the belt? Are you not vacating the belt? Then he beats Stipe for the belt, which is like, yeah, that's really good. Stipe's a legend, but Stipe's been out of the game for a bit. So like the division's a little bit held up. So it's a bit frustrating for fans, but hopefully John can just make clear what he wants to do. I think the comments when John is like, I don't want to fight him because he's an asshole. It doesn't sit well with fans. Like, it's like, what do you mean, man? Just fight the guy. But I was going to say, man, as we wrap up, they might fight International Fight Week. And they're saying, Islam, you guys might fight International Fight Week. So who knows? It could be the card of the century. Imagine that. You guys and John Jones on one card. What would that mean to you? That would be pretty special, right?
Fight of the year. Hands down, fight of the year.
That could be that could be one of the best cards of all time. Like it
could be. It definitely
Islam, where he is, pound for pound, the best fighter in the world. John Jones, considered the GOAT by many for everything that he's done. On the same card with two matchups. If it is like Ilia and Islam, or it could be Gaethje, but if it is Ilia and Islam and John Jones and Aspinall, goddamn, it's like a card from the heavens. And we would love that.
Well, like I said, let's see what the UFC puts together.
But I was going to say, it is fitting to have you a part of it because you've been a part, my friend, of some of the biggest fights in history. And I thank you for joining me here today. There he is, Javier Mendez. one of the best coaches in the game, one of the biggest pioneers in the game, the coach of champions. I can't wait to see what happens next, man. As we wrap up, what do people need to look out for? What's coming up on your end that people need to keep an eye out for?
Well, just basically on May 10th, I'm doing the GFL, Dubai Falcons. We're fighting Los Angeles, I believe, May 10th. I'm not confirmed on that date, but I believe our first show is going to be on that day, and I believe there's a network coming soon to them. So let's see.
Beautiful. And just update me, who's on Team Dubai now? Luke got moved to Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, yes.
So who's on your team now? Who do you have now?
20
okay,
people.
Cool. I don't know what's going on. I love the concept of GFL, but I never know what's going on over there.
I know Abu Bakr is on my team.
Okay, great. Well, we got one solid guy on there.
I know Todd Duffy's on my team, and I know a few other guys. I'm just joking. Anyways, let's see.
Okay, cool. That adds an element of surprise and just shows just how good of a coach you are. Just like, this guy, okay, I can make this work. Regardless, one of the best coaches in the game, man. Thank you so much, Javier. I really love chatting to you, man.
All right, buddy. Thanks.